Well, of course, I've seen many familiar faces already. I've met quite a large number of you already. And I don't know what you want me to say to you again. However, here I am.
What would you consider was the achievement of your visit to the United States, in general terms?
The greatest achievement to me is my discovery that the people of the United States are really willing to listen to people from outside and to try to understand the views and feelings of other people. I think that is something which is, I regard, very important.
Prime Minister, would you give some account of your meeting with the Afro-Asian group?
Oh yes, I had a meeting with them. The position of African Asian countries in the world, and to impress upon them the importance of our working together, not forming ourselves into block, but trying to follow what is the truth and to try to bring some sanity to this world.
The Tunisian question with them, and could you give us your views on the calling of an emergency session?
Oh, well, surely, of course, when we discuss matters of Africa and Asia, one is bound to discuss Tunisian incidents these days, you see. I refer to it as one of the problems facing us now.
African states, for instance, the Casablanca powers and the Monrovia powers. When is the Lagos Conference of African States likely to be held, and do you expect participation of all African states?
Well, we expect them all to attend our conference in Lagos when we open. But of course, it is open to every country to decide what to do, whether to accept or not. All African countries should be welcome to our conference in Lagos. And we don't like the idea of having Casablanca group, Monrovia group, this group. We don't like it. We hope the door is open for all of them to attend. Yes, right at the back there.
Mr. Prime Minister, I wonder, on the basis of your Washington discussions, what is your feeling with regards to the issue of self-determination as it relates to the Berlin question?
Berlin?
The issue of self-determination.
Well, of course, Nigeria is always in support of all countries that are now dependent to be given the right to self-determination. And I don't see how you relate that to the Berlin issue. The Berlin issue is quite a different one from a colonial issue, I think. Yes?
Mr. Prime Minister, you just mentioned the fact that you admonished your Afro-Asian colleagues to try and work for the truth and to bring some sanity into this world. This question is not facetious and very respectful indeed. Could you mention some of the insanities in the world today as you see them as a statesman?
I think you have been writing a lot about the insanity of the world yourself. So, you see, explosions, you see, difficult situations arising in places which are quite unnecessary, and human beings behaving in a way that would really stir up trouble and make things difficult for other human beings. But that's what I mean by insanity of the world, of which you yourself have been writing.
Representation question in the United Nations.
Well, I've made this view very clear here in October, and I think in Washington too. We believe it is wrong that Red China, which had been running a government for more than 10 years, with a population of over 650 million people, should not be allowed to contribute to the assembly of the world. And they should be represented in the United Nations. And we know how much other people feel about this. But this, of course, this should not close our eyes to seeing the truth about it. If you admit a country with 500,000 people, and then you refuse to admit another country of 650 million, well, we just can't understand it. And no doubt, of course, we do not subscribe to the idea of a country like Red China claiming another part of the world as their own and they must have it. We don't subscribe to that at all. And so this is our view, which we've made very, very, very clear.
Nigeria's economy,
Well,
and will it affect your relationship with the United Kingdom?
Well, if Britain joins the common market, definitely this will affect Nigeria. And I don't think there is a question of it will affect our relationship with the United Kingdom. But Nigeria will be affected, and it is for us then to see whether we could associate ourselves with the common market or whether we can't associate ourselves with the common market. And then we should know what arrangement we should make in place of the present position. Yes?
To the statement of a permanent member of the Security Council saying that she does not feel bound by a Security Council resolution.
Oh, yes. Well, this is exactly what I was saying yesterday. We should make the United Nations, the Security Council, or the decisions of the General Assembly to be binding, and so that no one country should say the decision could not be binding. And I do understand, of course, that particular country is not the only country which said this. I think there are several now. It depends on how, in what way the Security Council structure and its functions are reorganized.
Comment on the announcement in London today that Jomo Kenyatta would be completely free in the middle of this month. It was an announcement from Mr. MacLeod.
Oh, that is very good. I think that is the one. That is very good. I'm very pleased to hear that.
You feel the Security Council might be reorganized?
This is is very interesting. And the first, I don't like to explain to you what I have in mind, and a suggestion which I want to give and quietly try to sell it to other people, quietly, not by publishing it in the newspapers. But the first thing which I don't like is the veto power of any country. I think it might be all right had it not been used, you see, in such a way as to make things impossible.
The veto in the Security Council?
I would very much like to. I think it is wrong to have a veto power. Yes?
Minister, if I may ask you a second. A free state in Africa by a mighty power.
The attack of?
The attack of a free state in Africa by a mighty power.
Yes.
It may not be the first time, if my memory serves me right, and it surely may not be the last time. And this brings up in my mind the question of defense to the so many newborn states in Africa. How, sir, would you visualize as a statesman the question of national defense in terms of the world in which the African peoples have suddenly been thrust with great national responsibility? Would you arm? Would you build up armies? Would you resort to Gandhi methods? You'll have rejected blocs What is the defense for the new states of Africa?
Well, we expect the world to, the big nations to have the morals not to go and fall on us with guns and bombs. But in terms of defending ourselves, we don't think we could defend ourselves in the sense that we could really stop them. But we think if they are morals and if, because of humanity, we don't think they could just go and start jumping on us, you see. Yes.
And many credentials, I even carry them way down. And yes, it's very difficult if you are a national origin of color to get recognition. And so you have to go plod along as a freelancer. Now that is not only in the South, but it prevails in the North. And it's not just illiterate people, it's well-educated people. I would like you to address yourself to some solution to this problem, because we cannot keep going on spending year after year.
Well, thank you very much. This is a statement. We are really addressing ourselves to this problem. And in fact, we regard it as our duty to try to remove all this racial discrimination wherever it is, and that a man should not be honored or a man should be treated not on the color of his skin, but on what he is. And you'll understand, of course, that we are completely free from this racial discrimination. And we don't like it, and we don't hesitate to tell the people who are in a position to see that it is completely removed. We tell them every time. And I think I have, when I addressed the House of Representatives in Washington, I told them of this, of our view. And I hope that at the same time, you see, wherever we are, colored or uncolored, I think everybody is colored in the world, I must tell you this. There is no colorless man in the world. You see, everybody is colored according to me. I regard myself either I'm black or red or green, equal to anybody else. And I don't feel, I don't have this inferiority complex, and I think everybody is colored. White is color, red is color, pink, brown, all this is color. But I think there is another point of it, you see. Also the colored people, wherever they are, they should also behave in such a way that they shouldn't be discriminated against. It's very important. Yes?
Sir, what was the main objective of your visit to this country, and have you achieved that objective?
Well, I was invited to the United States by President Kennedy. And when I came, we discussed many matters, world problems, international situation, possibilities of American aid to Nigeria. That's what we discussed, you see. And I must say I'm very satisfied, you see, with my discussion with him and the officials in Washington. And now there is the...
Mr. Prime Minister,
yes.
I would like to ask, what is the feeling in Nigeria towards the plight of the Palestine Arab refugees?
What?
The feeling in Nigeria towards the plight of the Palestine Arab refugees and the need to restore their rights and return to their country.
I saw these refugees myself when I went on pilgrimage to Arabia. It was really most pathetic sight seeing those people. And whoever were responsible for those people should not be forgiven, honestly. It was a very, very sad, most unfortunate. And I think we in Nigeria will have sympathy with any people in any part of the world who are suffering any difficulty.
What do you think, Mr. Prime Minister, of the future of the cooperation between Nigeria and the United Arab Republic?
Oh, well, Nigeria and the United Arab Republic, there isn't any bitterness between the two countries, and they have got quite a lot in common. And the United Arab Republic has got an embassy in Nigeria, and Nigeria hopes to establish an embassy in the United Arab Republic very soon. So the only thing is that of friendship. That is all. It is our declared policy of being friendly with all nations of the world. There's somebody wants to right from the back there. Yes? 1.5.
Mr. Prime Minister, about the Tunisian question, can you tell us whether your delegation has signed the request for an emergency session on this question, whether you are planning any material or moral aid to Tunisia, and what your opinion is of the U.S. position taken in the Security Council on this?
Well, I think we better allow them time. I understand they're still talking about it. And so possibly you may hear very soon what they decide to do. I think whether the Security Council will find a solution, or whether the General Assembly, I'm all in for something definite which will bring about a settlement between Tunisia and France. Whatever way the thing is suggested, if it will bring settlement, I'm all for it. Oh, sir? Yes.
Sir, would you favor or would you oppose a settlement of the question of Berlin and Germany by a free election of all the people involved?
Oh, I would not oppose it at all. I think well, that is the only right way to find out the feelings of the people. If there could be a free election, well, that's all right. Yes?
One of the prospects, Mr. Prime Minister, for the establishment of a Nigerian Republic.
Well, this is entirely in the hand of the Nigerians. If they want a republic, they will have a republic. If they want a country as they have now, it is entirely up to them. Right at the back there.
Mr. Prime Minister, I wonder if you could clear this up. First, you said that the Berlin issue, the self-determination doesn't apply because it is not a colonial issue. Now, you say that you would not oppose, in fact, probably would welcome a free election to determine what the people want. Now, I just wonder if you could clear up your theory or your principle here.
Yeah, but it is not it is not exactly like a colonial issue. Now, Berlin is now administered into more or less, you can call the Western and the Eastern Berlin. And the people all there are in a position to know exactly what they want for themselves. And the only way to resolve the differences there between the East and the West is to have a free election for the people to vote where they want to go. After all, the Western allies have been in their sections in the end of the war, the Russians in the end of the war, and the people have the experience of the two types of guidance which they receive from the two different blocks, and if they are given the choice to choose what to go, what to be, I think we'll accept that they're entitled to do so.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think you all agree with me. The Prime Minister had to go at 2 o'clock, and he's already spent 5 more minutes. I think you'll just be agreed that he's answered all the questions that you had to ask, and if there's any more questions you want to ask, if you send them in written form, we'll send them to the Prime Minister.
No, I don't promise that, you know. Well, thank you very much.